If you don't come to the rugby meetings, you don't know Earl that well. And if you come to the rugby meetings, you all know everybody hates rugby meetings. Earl actually revels in rugby meetings and loves talking about like words that are spelled wrong in grammar that's not used properly. And that comes from being a teacher. But Earl's one of those people, obviously, that has dedicated the majority of his life to rugby. And he's also somebody, even like when I first come, the hardest part of rugby is the administration stuff. Even Jeremiah would say it's just, you would just much rather either be coaching or playing rather than sitting in a room listening to a bunch of idiots talking about whatever, you know, amending something, amending this or amending that. But we need people to go to those meetings and look out for Iowa all the time. And Earl was one of those people who went to those early Midwest meetings and looked out for us so we can all be standing here enjoying this. He played for the Irish of the Quad Cities. This is how he has this down on there for me. Ambrose, Albert Lee, and Palmer College. The administration that he's done, the offices that he's held were the president of the Irish of the Quad Cities, president of the Iowa Rugby Union, VP of the Iowa Rugby Union, treasurer of the Iowa Rugby Union, treasurer or VP of the Midwest Rugby Union, and then he coached the Irish of the Quad Cities, Clinton, Augustana, St. Ambrose, Independence, and the Iowa Select Side. And then he represented the Midwest Rugby Union at the first USA capping ceremony. And Earl, like I said, is somebody who, if I have a question about some administrative thing, I usually call Earl, and I just know that when I call him, it's going to be about a 20-minute conversation. And he usually gives me the answer in the first minute. And then we just bullshit about everything else after that. So anyway, Earl, I wanted to say thank you and congratulate you on your time and your dedication to Iowa. Earl said, "Oh, I don't get to talk?" No. Next up is a guy a lot of you guys have, depending on your age, you've seen him stand and yell on the sidelines. When I played against him and I heard him stand and yell on the sidelines. So Craig Skott, if you could come up.
You stole my opening remarks. Because anybody that's seen rugby in Iowa in the last 20-some years knows Craig on the sidelines. I'm Bill Hosey. I started playing for River City in '91. That's when I first met Craig. And Craig did his own bio here, so I'm just going to kind of read off what he has. His chronological age is 65, in rugby years over 100. He started playing rugby at 24 as an original founding member of River City Rugby Club in 1972. He's one of our original 17 players. River City played 4 games that year, lost them all. And they scored 1 try for the season. Craig played yeah, we improved a little bit. Yeah. Played club side for 25 years, and in recent years has been playing old boys rugby. He coached River City Rugby for over 30 years. Played approximately 600 club side matches, over 100 tournament matches, 60 all-Iowa matches, and 50 old boys matches to date. Attended all 40 of the Iowa Rugby, all Iowa tournaments in a row, probably an unofficial record unless someone wants to try and beat that one. He's played rugby on 3 continents, make it 4 next year when we go to Argentina for our next World Golden Oldies tour. He's attended 3 Rugby World Cups. He's played on rugby on 6 overseas rugby tours. He's been a tour manager on at least 9 old boys or club side tours to England, France, and Australia. He played 1 select side game against Ohio. Attended 3 Mid-America Cups as a player and a coach. He's played in 6 World Golden Oldie Rugby Festivals and 1 Vintage Rugby Festival. Craig was appointed a player selector and assistant Iowa team manager for 3 years. Worst game played. Against Iowa State, it was 35 degrees, the wind was 25 miles an hour, and 2 inches of rain. Most memorable game. Scored a 40-yard try against Milwaukee. Also winning the All-Iowa tournament was one of his most memorable occasions. Best player Craig says he's played against was Cecil Youngblood, if any of you older guys know him. Greatest rugby personality, player, fan, enthusiast, and supporter was Reggie Tate. Tries scored, not that many. And has drank approximately 5,000 beers at rugby events.
And Craig, actually, the very first overseas tour I went on, we went to Wales, and Craig went. And if you've ever tried to get, well, I deal with women now, but if you've ever tried to get 42 guys to listen to you and do things, it was incredible that we actually pulled it off and no one died. Next up, I remember this guy for, I don't know for how many years he did it, but he played with a glove, one glove on. And we kind of joked and said he was the Michael Jackson of Iowa rugby. And he was always talking, always talking. Bill Farnham, will you come up here, please? And then Scott, come up.
If anybody knows Bill and Craig, they know that Craig was standing on the sidelines yelling at Bill while he was officiating a Mason City match, probably. But
Every single one.
it's a real honor to be up here and to get to talk about Bill a little bit. And I think it's really a fitting honor that Bill is part of this first class of Hall of Famers, because Bill really represents the epitome of what it's all about to be an Iowa rugby player. He didn't just have a career that was in his own club where he showed up and he practiced and he played and so forth. Bill has contributed to Iowa rugby since the day he stepped on the pitch back in 1988. I think you can, some of you, well, just a few of you, may remember that Bill was the publisher of the Gopher College annual brochure that was in great demand by players all over the country, all over the state, and it was a fabulous brochure. There are only a few that have a complete collection. Willie Craig has one of them. I'm going to put them up here so you can see what it was like before Facebook and web pages.